Building a PC. It's hard these days. Prices are jacked up on all corners of the internet. The stocks disappear the second that they're available, except for you, GT710. No one wants you. Anyhow, it's hard for a gamer out here. In fact, even I had to go through this messy process to get my girlfriend a PC, and I still only managed to get her a GT 1030. Well, in the last couple of weeks I thought,
oh, that was dumb.
And yeah, it was. I decided to look at the market again with fresh eyes. Are there any diamonds in the rough? Is pre-built or used worth the trouble? What's up guys, I'm Snows, and this is your boot sequence. Alright, let's start with what is currently the worst idea, trying to buy a GPU on its own. The first issue is obviously stock. Unless your store does pre-orders, reservations, or deposits, it's going to be really hard to find a GPU. And even if they do, it might take a while before you receive it. I was lucky enough to actually receive the RTX 3060 that I ordered a month and a half ago for this video. But as I picked it up, they explained to me that they just stopped doing pre-orders altogether. Not just that, but they overcharged me because the price of the card had gone up, and anyways, I got one. I overpaid, but not by too much according to today's standards. Which brings us to the second issue, the price. First, forget the original suggested price by the manufacturer. I'm talking about those that came from Nvidia and AMD's presentations. Those are MSRPs of days past. Sure, if you manage to beat the bots to the race on AMD.com or Nvidia.com, you might get it at MSRP. But then you might also want to buy a lottery ticket, because you're lucky, my dude. With lasting damage due to COVID's impact on logistics and the supply chain, the insane increase in demand, and the tariffs expiry in the US, prices are up about $100 and more, and they're not really gonna go down. So the price is high and the stock is low. So how can you get one that doesn't totally scam you? I think pre-builds. Funny enough, that's where all the stock seems to be. Plus, pre-builds aren't that bad price-wise too. Of course, that depends where you shop, but they do come with some caveats. Let's look at Dell, for example. I saw a system that would have a good mid-range GPU like a 5700 XT or a 2060 Super, and a good enough CPU for gaming, a 10400F. For $1,350 Canadian, that's about $1,050 US, that was really a good deal. Heck, those 5700 XTs and 2060 Supers are getting sold on their own for more than that on eBay. But I basically waited too long and it was out of stock after a couple of days. But the point is, considering our situation, this was a catch. And Dell isn't the only one to have sales like that. Lenovo also has pretty big sales, although you do have to wait for them to come up. And HP/Omen does also have some good deals sometimes. Now, that was for a mid-range GPU. If you want something more high-end, the price is definitely higher, but we'll talk about that later. So price-wise, you can get away with a pre-built. I would just recommend you pay attention to all the models, not just the gaming brands. Like if you want an HP, take a look at all of their portfolio, not just Omen. If you want a Dell, take a look at everything. The Inspiron, the, gaming G5, not just the Alienware. Got it? All right, so what about the negatives then? Well, first, depending on the brand, it's not always good looking. Let's just be vain. Yeah, sometimes they're not pretty. They look like big pieces of plastic. But some of them look pretty cool. Look at the Omen towers, for example. They do it right, in my opinion. It's got a sleek front, nice RGB, etc., etc. If you look at Dell's G5 gaming series, though, it's very plasticky. And if you look for an XPS or Inspiron, it's even worse. And now on to the second negative, the airflow/the temperature. Now that might not seem like that big of a deal, but often some of these more plain looking pre-builts don't have what it takes to fully cool the CPU, at least not the CPU at its full specs. I know that a couple of generations ago, Dell would just power limit their CPUs or just let them run hot. Obviously, that doesn't happen to all of the manufacturers, but even the recent HP Omen 30L reviewed by Hardware Canucks a while ago has a dinky cooler that's barely good enough. Lastly, there's the parts that sometimes are not upgradable. The RAM slot, for example, for the 30L Omen only works with OEM RAM sticks. The motherboard could lack a ton of I/O, and of course the form factor of things like the case, motherboard, or power supply is likely to be non-standard. So it's going to be hard to sell if you want to part it out. So that's pre-built from the major companies. But what about the boutique builders like CyberPower or iBuyPower, NZXT Build, Origin, etc., etc.? Well, honestly, it depends. Most of the time, you're paying a pretty big premium, and in other times, the others like NZXT Build are completely sold out. At least if you buy a custom pre-build from them, you're getting full components and get to choose your config. But there is one system builder that I stumbled upon that always has something in stock for pre-builds, whether it's a 3070, 80, or a 3090. This is ABS Systems on Newegg. Now, ABS Systems is a subsidiary of Newegg, which is of course a big reason why it always has the 3000 series of GPUs in stock. Instead of scalping us on the GPU price during the Newegg shuffle, that's the good guy image of Newegg, they go ahead and kill us on the pre-built side. And it's recent too. My friend bought this, an ABS system with a 10400F and a 3060 Ti. It was $15.99 Canadian in February when he bought it, and I saw it last week for $21.99, and it sold a lot. Another example is right here, a complete system with a GPU for $25.50 before tax. I broke down all the parts for a system like this, and we're looking at about $1,200 max. That means the 3060 Ti is costing me $1,350, $1,350. It's supposed to be $399 US, and I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna call back to the beginning of the video when I said it didn't matter, but for $399 US, you're looking at, in Canadian, a maximum of about $800. And I know it sounds ridiculous because I paid $650 for my RTX 3060. So even if I double the amount that it's worth in US dollars, it's not even close to what Newegg is charging me. Not only that, but you don't know what you're getting. You could get a Zotac Mini 3060 Ti that barely overclocks, or an EVGA 3060 Ti for the win Ultra 3 like my friend got. I would expect this from scalpers, but not from Newegg. Anyways, excuse me as I went on a tangent here, but what about a third option? Just waiting for stock or for the next generation? Well, sure you can, but good luck. AMD might release something this year, but Nvidia's RTX 4000 series is not coming until 2022. All we got until then are refreshes. As is, we're in a situation that will last a while. To sum it up, put a back order down if you can. Unfortunately, you have to brace yourself for slightly higher prices, actually much higher prices, but don't go paying triple, maybe like 1.5x max. Pre-builds are great if you have been looking at a whole new system, but make sure that you hunt for sales. And of course, stay away from shady practices when you can recognize them. Also, you can try and buy the desktop PC, take the GPU for yourself, and then try and sell the rest of the system. But honestly, on a pre-built, it's gonna be hard. I mean, CPUs are in stock right now, unless it's an AMD 5900X or 5950X. But at that point, you got the money, just pay a scalper. I'm kidding. Anyways, that's pretty much it for today's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Let me know what you thought down below. As usual, you can click right here to see the latest video, right here to subscribe to the channel. Stay frosty, my dudes, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.